Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello, everybody. We have so much going on tonight. We may not have enough time. We may need an extra night to fit all of this stuff in. Right off the top, we have 5 police officers shot in Pennsylvania. We'll get you the latest on that. Donald Trump over in the UK for his second royal visit. Kash Patel on the hot seat being grilled over the Epstein files. And Russia. Looks like they're at war with us, even if we don't want to be at war with them, or maybe just not willing to acknowledge what is right in front of our faces. So, as I say, a lot to unpack tonight. Stay with me. When we come back, we'll dig right into the latest breaking news out of Pennsylvania, where we have 5 police officers shot.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so as I say, 5 police officers shot in Pennsylvania. Let's get you some images. These are the most recent images we have. Emergency responders on scene. Social. Okay, we're back. Sorry, we had a little bit of an interruption there. Okay, so as I say, 5 police officers shot. And we have this from this news conference. Multiple officers are now confirmed dead after having been shot. 3 dead in North Corduroy Township, Pennsylvania. Authorities say. We'll go to the news conference and get you the latest. Now, this is not live, just to be very clear, but this was just minutes ago. So we'll pick up the feed, and we're lagging a little bit behind here just because our broadcast did not start until just a few minutes after 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's get the feed in here. But this is the most current information we have. Okay. And here we go. Audio will come up. Or it should. Here we go. Feed's coming in.
Good evening. My name is Colonel Christopher Paris. I serve as the Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm going to address you this evening concerning a critical incident that has rocked the community here in York County this afternoon. The incident occurred in Caduras Township, York County. I'd like to preemptively say that there are many details which at this point we are not prepared to release given the ongoing nature of the investigation. That having been said, we would like to advise the community that there is no current active threat. The situation today involved law enforcement officers who were shot. I can confirm that the shooter is dead. I can confirm that there were 5 law enforcement officers who were shot today. 3 fatally, 2 that were transported here to Wellspan in York. They are currently listed in critical but stable condition. The District Attorney of York County, who is no stranger to this community, or in collaborating with the Pennsylvania State Police, Tim Barker. I've spoken to him. The Pennsylvania State Police has been asked to convene a major case team to conduct the lead in this investigation with the assistance and in collaboration and in partnership with the York County District Attorney. I can assure you that all of the resources of the Pennsylvania State Police are being brought to bear. There is still very much an active scene at Caduras Township, York County. Later this evening, the District Attorney will have more information to release. I can tell you that the Pennsylvania State Police have taken over calls for service for the Northern York Regional Police Department, and we will continue to do so to support our partners. I can tell you that I've spoken to the Special Agent in charge of the FBI out of Philadelphia, our municipal partners and county partners here in York County, and we've received multiple offers of assistance from our fellow state partners to include New Jersey and York. But we have a very large investigative scene. In being here today with our law enforcement family for the second time in 2025, I'd just like to say on a very personal note, our hearts and prayers go out to them, to the families of the deceased and the families of those officers who were wounded. There are simply no words that I can offer to assuage the grief that this community has experienced and unfortunately will continue to experience. The grief will be unbearable, but we will bear it. So we stand here today united for our partners all across the law enforcement spectrum, and we will not rest until we've conducted a full, fair, competent, and thorough investigation into this matter. Lastly, I would simply ask to the community here in York County and beyond, all across Pennsylvania and all across our nation, if you could keep the families that were touched by this tragedy today in your thoughts and prayers. Please give them a solemn thought. And to the women and men who are working diligently right now to push this incident forward and the investigation forward and the aftermath that will have to be dealt with and persevered through, our hearts and prayers are with them. Thank you very much. I'll now turn it over to Governor Shapiro.
This is an absolutely tragic and devastating day for York County and for the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We grieve for the loss of life, for 3 precious souls who served this county, served this Commonwealth, and served this country. We continue to pray for the full recovery of those who are dealing with their wounds. This, of course, is on the heels of just a few months ago when we lost another York County son, Officer Duarte, who again gave his life in the line of service. I had the opportunity with the Lieutenant Governor and with Senator Phillips Hill, Representative Grove, and your 3 county commissioners to spend some time with the families of those who have been impacted by this violence today. I think it's important for you to know that these families who are dealing with, they're grieving right now and they're suffering right now, took time to tell us how proud they were, how proud they are of their loved ones who put on a uniform to keep us safe. It's an extraordinary thing that these law enforcement families do. They support the individual who puts on the uniform and runs toward danger. They're there for them when they leave in the morning, and they pray throughout the day that they will come home at night. So I hope as this community comes together, as I know it knows how to do, and prays, that we think not just about those who wear the uniform, but those who stand behind and next to those who wear the uniform every day. These families are extraordinary, and I hope you'll join me in prayer for them. I had some time to spend with the law enforcement who are gathered here today, who ran here because they knew that their brothers in uniform were in danger or their lives were cut short. I'll just share with you what I told them. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania respects them, and we have their backs. And we so appreciate the work that they do every single day when they go out to keep us safe, when they go out to protect our freedoms and our rights. This is something that, sadly, we only tend to share in times of tragedy. I think it is important that this Commonwealth knows that every day we appreciate those who put on the uniform and those who keep us safe. There are others here at WellSpan who wear different kind of uniforms. And I want to say thank you to the doctors, to the nurses, to the staff here at this extraordinarily wonderful healthcare institution that sadly has seen too much trauma. But thanks to their extraordinary talents and their dedication to their neighbors, they're able to help people get back up on their feet. That's what you did today for these two brave souls who put on a uniform to keep us safe. And so we appreciate those of you who don the white coat and the scrubs, those of you who support the work that they do. You truly are wonderful people, and we appreciate you very, very much. I want to let you know that Attorney General Pam Bondi reached out directly to me and shared with me that we have the full support of the federal government. I know, as Colonel Paris indicated before, he has spoken to the lead of the FBI here in this region. We so appreciate law enforcement at every level, and we, of course, appreciate our federal partners. General and I worked together when I was Attorney General here in Pennsylvania. She was the Attorney General in Florida. It meant a lot to me that she reached out to offer her support and her prayers for good people of Pennsylvania. Here's the last thing I want to say, and I'll turn it over to the Lieutenant Governor. This kind of violence isn't okay. We need to do better as a society. We need to help the people who think that picking up a gun, picking up a weapon is the answer to resolving disputes. We need to do better when it comes to mental health. We need to do better when it comes to looking out for those who are in need, so we don't have to deal with tragedies like this. We got to do better as a society. I know everybody up here believes that, and everybody up here works hard to do that every day. I just think as a community, it's time for us to work hard to heal from this and to make sure that those whose lives were lost today, that something constructive can come from that in their memory that stops this kind of violence in the future, that protects those people that put on those uniforms for us. It makes it so these trauma surgeons don't have to patch this many people up. We gotta do better as a society. I know we're all committed to doing that work. We've got to do even more. Now's the time for this community to come together and to do this important work. And so on behalf of a grateful Commonwealth, I say to those who wear the uniform of law enforcement, thank you. To those who wear the uniform of healthcare, thank you. To the elected leaders up here, thank you for the work that you have done and know you will do to keep our community safe. And to Colonel Paris and the entire team at the Pennsylvania State Police, I know you will have every resource you need to make sure that this investigation is conducted fully and thoroughly, and that whatever steps need to be taken will. May God bless York County and the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. May God bless and watch over those families that are suffering right now. Lori and I join you in prayer, And I think prayer is a particularly important thing at this moment here in York County and all across Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Governor. I share your thoughts and prayers for the officers that were lost today, the officers who were injured, and every law enforcement person across this great Commonwealth. We are unfortunately here again in York County because of gun violence, the issue that brought me to public service. I want everyone to know today is not just a devastating day for this community in this region, it's a devastating day for our entire Commonwealth. My wife Blair and our entire family join in the prayers of, I believe, 13 million Pennsylvanians who are praying for the officers and their families today. You know, we ask a lot of police officers in our communities, and they always run towards danger. I think we all have a responsibility to continuously do our part.
Okay, so we are following the story out of Pennsylvania. 3 law enforcement officers killed, 2 others wounded. This was a shooting that occurred earlier this afternoon. The shooter is now confirmed dead. That from the state police commissioner. Police were told were serving a warrant in York County when they were fired upon. The officers were in Corderis Township, following up on a domestic investigation that began sometime yesterday. State Police Commissioner Christopher Paris kicking off this news conference that is, I think, still continuing. We're lagging a little behind. And that is really the latest information we have. The first 911 call came in around 2:10 p.m. Pennsylvania time. So 3 police officers killed, and more information will be coming out in the hours and days ahead. So we will continue to follow this, bring you updates if any new information is made available this evening, and certainly tomorrow as well. So another tragic mass shooting. Well, not a mass shooting, but 3 police officers, a shootout, a domestic dispute of some kind, gone really, really, really wrong. Let's take a very short break. We'll come back on the other side and dig into today's other top news stories, and we have lots of them tonight.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So I didn't really plan to go here, but this is also breaking this hour. The Jimmy Kimmel Show has been preempted indefinitely. As you can see, headline, this is actually a story. I don't know who broke the story first. Very likely ABC, since it is their show, Disney's ABC, taking Jimmy Kimmel's late night talk show off the air indefinitely amid a controversy over his recent comments about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. No comment from Jimmy Kimmel's representatives says the abrupt announcement came Wednesday evening tonight after at least one major operator of ABC-affiliated stations said it would not broadcast the show for the foreseeable future. And the operator Nexstar said it strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming on its ABC-affiliated markets. So what is this about? It says during his Monday evening monologue, Kimmel suggested Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, might have been a pro-Trump Republican. The MAGA gang, quote, the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid, it says, who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it, Kimmel said. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. The ABC late-night host's remarks constituted the sickest conduct possible, FCC Chair Brendan Carr told right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson on Wednesday. Carr suggested his FCC could move to revoke ABC affiliate licenses as a way to force Disney to punish Kimmel. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Carr said. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take actions on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Carr added the broadcasters, including ABC, have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. Elsewhere in the interview, Carr attacked Kimmel as talentless and suggested the late-night comedian's comments displayed some sort of desperate irrelevance. Disney and ABC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. What's it say here? The Center for American Rights, which has previously lodged bias complaints against NBC, ABC, and CBS on Wednesday, filed a complaint with the FCC over Kimmel's comments, writing that, quote, it is no defense to say that Kimmel was engaging in satire or late-night comedy rather than traditional news. ABC's affiliates need to step up and hold ABC accountable as a network for passing through material that fails to respect the public interest standard to which they are held. Disney, as ABC's corporate owner, needs to act directly to correct this problem. I'm quoting. Okay. Do we have a clip of what was said? Here's a clip. This might be it. Let me see if I've got it. I didn't see it. I haven't watched the Jimmy Kimmel show, and I don't remember when the last time was. I don't really watch much television anymore, ever.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns.
So that's what got his show canned. Oh my. How the pendulum has swung. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to comment in the chat. Okay, what else do we have going on tonight? President Trump in the UK for his second royal visit. Oh, the pomp, the circumstance. The inspection the guards. The formalities, I would say it's like the billionaire commoner meeting the king, the royals. I remember when Donald Trump was running for president the first time, and his critics were saying, "Oh, he'll never be president. He can't be president. He's too boorish, not sophisticated enough. Not he's just too crude." And then some of the people around him, I don't remember who it was. There was this gentleman with a very sophisticated air, sort of an Alfred from Batman sort of aura, and he came to Donald Trump's defense because he worked for Trump, and I don't remember what the guy's name was or exactly what his position was, but he was like, "Oh yes, I've seen him with royalty," and indeed, Trump has known the king for a long time, even since like before he was elected president, even the first time. Anyway, this is the president and the first lady participating in a state banquet in the UK tonight, where no other president in history has ever received a second invitation for a royal visit, but Trump has. And what an event.
Mr. President, Mrs. Trump, it is with great pleasure that my wife and I welcome you to Windsor Castle on this, your second state visit to the United Kingdom. This unique and important occasion reflects the enduring bond between our two great nations, anchored by the deep friendship between our people. This relationship, which with good reason we and our predecessors have long called special, has made us safer and stronger through the generations. Our people have fought and died together for the values we hold dear. We have innovated, traded, and created together, fueling our economies and cultures through myriad forms of exchange. We have celebrated together, mourned together, and stood together in the best and worst of times. Mr. President, as we approach the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence next year, it is remarkable to think just how far we have come. I cannot help but wonder what our forebears from 1776 would make of this friendship today. The rebel commander and pioneering first president, George Washington, famously vowed never to set foot on British soil. And my 5 times great-grandfather, King George III, for his part, did not spare his words when he spoke of the revolutionary leaders. Today, however, we celebrate a relationship between our two countries that surely neither Washington nor King George III could possibly have imagined. The ocean may still divide us, but in so many other ways, we are now the closest of kin. Mr. President, you have spoken of your pride in your British roots. In fact, not only have you set foot on British soil twice in the last 2 months alone, but I understand that British soil makes for rather splendid golf courses. Now, for my part, I have always admired the ingenuity of the American people and the principles of freedom which your great democracy has represented since its inception. Throughout my life, from the very first visit to the United States in 1970, and over 20 visits since that time, I have cherished the close ties between the British and American peoples. In fact, had the media succeeded in the 1970s in their own attempt at deepening the special relationship, I myself might have been married off within the Nixon family. Mr. President, from York to New York, from Birmingham, England to Birmingham, Alabama, we are united by a common language and shared heritage. The many thousands of people from each of our countries who have made the other their home have enriched our societies immeasurably, a fact that gives me the greatest pride. Our cultural connections too continue to flourish, with our actors, musicians, writers and television presenters prospering in the hearts of transatlantic audiences. Today, our alliance spans every field of endeavour and shows vast potential for growth. The United Kingdom was your partner in the first trade deal of your administration, Mr. President, bringing jobs and growth to both our countries. And no doubt we can go even further as we build this new era of our partnership. Our two nations have an exceptional legacy of shared discovery. Together we laid the foundations of nuclear science, mapped the human genome, and built the internet, upon which all contemporary commerce, communication and defence is based. Together, our scientists and engineers are shaping the world of tomorrow, not least with new partnership agreements on technology and the prosperity that stands to bring. Our countries have the closest defence, security and intelligence relationship ever known. In 2 world wars, we fought together to defeat the forces of tyranny. Today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and secure peace. And our AUKUS submarine partnership with Australia sets the benchmark for innovative and vital collaboration. The successes of the British Redcoats and of George Washington's Continental Army today stand shoulder to shoulder, brothers and sisters in arms, protecting the freedoms we both cherish. Our countries are working together in support of crucial diplomatic efforts, not least of which, Mr. President, is your own personal commitment to finding solutions to some of the world's most intractable conflicts in order to secure peace. In striving for a better world, we also have a precious opportunity to safeguard and to restore the wonders and beauty of nature for the generations who follow us. We share the ambition and determination to preserve our majestic lands and waters, above all, to ensure that we have clean water, clean air, and clean food. Our legacy for the next 250 years and beyond is to ensure that our children, grandchildren, and those who come after them can experience the awe and magnificence of the natural treasures found in the countryside, on the coasts, in the seas, and in the national parks established by your predecessors and mine. Mr. President, Mrs. Trump, the bond between our two nations is indeed a remarkable one. Forged in the fire of conflict, it has been fortified through our shared endeavours and burnished by the deep affection between our people. Tested time and again. It has borne the weight of our common purpose and raised our ambition for a better world. So, in renewing our bond tonight, we do so with unshakable trust in our friendship and in our shared commitment to independence and liberty. Therefore, as we celebrate this unparalleled partnership, allow me to propose a toast to President Trump and the First Lady, and to the health, prosperity, and happiness of the people of the United States of America.
Your Majesty, Melania and I are deeply grateful to you and Queen Camilla for your extraordinary graciousness. And to William and Kate, thank you so much. It's been so great being with you today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a singular privilege to be the first American president welcomed here. And if you think about it, it's a lot of presidents, and this was the second state visit, and that's the first, and maybe that's going to be the last time. I hope it is, actually. But this is truly one of the highest honors of my life. Such respect for you and such respect for your country. For many decades, His Majesty the King has epitomized the fortitude, nobility, and the spirit of the British monarchy and the British people. He's dedicated himself to preserving the glory and unique character of this kingdom, restoring life to the rivers and streams, supporting the works of its artists and composers, planting trees and gardens in its countryside. And I just visited one of the most beautiful I've ever seen that you just completed, and protecting the architectural integrity of cities, villages, and towns. He has uplifted the poor, cared for rural farmers, and tended to wounded veterans like nobody else. I'll tell you that I just stood in line and shook about 150 hands, and the King knew every single person and every single company, and some of them had bad names like XYZ-Q3, and he knew every one of them, or at least I think he did, because nobody was complaining. I was very impressed with that. But I just want to say that His Majesty has also raised a remarkable son in His Royal Highness Prince of Wales. Really amazing. We've gotten to know you, and I think you're going to have an unbelievable success in the future. Melania and I are delighted to visit again with Prince William and to see Her Royal Highness Princess Catherine, so radiant and so healthy, so beautiful. It's really a great honor. Thank you. Many years ago, His Majesty opened his archives to a biographer. Among the documents was a letter from 1993 in which he described the patriotism and guided his many projects. He wrote that he was, quote, entirely motivated by a desperate desire to put the great back into Great Britain. In the finest tradition of British sovereigns, he has given his whole heart, everything he's got, to those parts of Britain that are beyond the realm of mere legislation. It's not easy, but which define its essence and its virtue, its harmony and its soul. It's an amazing calling, and there's nobody that's answered that calling like you have. A fifth of all of humanity speaks, writes, thinks, and prays in the language born on these isles and perfected in the pages of Shakespeare and Dickens and Tolkien, and Lewis, Orwell, and Kipling. Incredible people, unbelievable people like we have rarely seen before, probably won't see again. The lion-hearted people of this kingdom defeated Napoleon, unleashed the Industrial Revolution, destroyed slavery, and defended civilization in the darkest days of fascism and communism. The British gave the world the Magna Carta, the modern parliament, and Francis Bacon's scientific method. They gave us the works of Locke, and Hobbes, Smith, and Burke, Newton, and Blackstone. The legal, intellectual, cultural, and political traditions of this kingdom have been among the highest achievements of mankind. There's really never been anything like it. The British Empire laid the foundations of law, liberty, free speech, and individual rights virtually everywhere the Union Jack has ever flown, including a place called America. You know that place very well, don't you? His Majesty spoke eloquently about the bond which inspired Sir Winston Churchill, and the bust is in the Oval Office right now, the beautiful bust of Winston Churchill, to coin the phrase special relationship. But seen from American eyes, the word special does not begin to do it justice. We're joined by history and fate, and by love and language, and by transcendent ties of culture, tradition, ancestry, and destiny. We're like two notes in one chord, or two verses of the same poem, each beautiful on its own, but really meant to be played together. The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It's irreplaceable and unbreakable, and we are, as a country, as you know, doing unbelievably well. We had a very sick country 1 year ago, and today, I believe we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, nobody's even questioning it, but we owe so much of that to you and the footing that you gave us when we started. Together, we've done more good for humanity than any two countries in all of history. Together, we must defend the exceptional heritage that makes us who we are, and we must continue to stand for the values and the people of the English-speaking world, and we do indeed stand for that. On behalf of all Americans, I offer a toast to one of the great friendships, to two great countries, and to His Majesty, King Charles III, a very, very special man, and also a very, very special queen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you.
I think Trump has been really, basking in the attention. He likes it, obviously. And I think that there is some strategy and maybe even a little bit of psychology in play here, with the king inviting Trump back for a second visit because he needs to shore up that friendship between the UK and the United States. I think it also will benefit Canada because of Canada's continued ties to Britain, and it's not hurting. It's not going to hurt us, that's for sure. Not at this point, and we need it because the pressure on Canada right now from, I wouldn't say the United States, I'd say from Trump and the MAGA movement, is pretty darn intense. We have a lot more stuff to dig into tonight, so don't go away. We'll come back on the other side of this.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
For months, Vladimir Putin has made it fairly clear that Russia already considers a war to be happening between Russia and NATO. I've seen in recent days some acknowledgement of that from some pretty credible live streamers who are even characterizing what's going on with Russia as a de facto war from between Russia and NATO. And today, this was brought to my attention, sent to me. Oh, I lost the... let me see if I can bring it back up. The computer is really sluggish tonight, and it's cutting things off. As you saw at the beginning of the broadcast again, I think it's just because we have so much stuff running all the time. Okay, so here, this is an article from Real Clear Defense. Bring it up on the screen for you if it will come up. There we go. No, that's not the right one. We already showed you that. That's the Kimmel story. Okay, come on, Real Clear Defense. I'm way ahead of you, computer. Who says digital technology is faster than humans? Russia is at war with the West. So this is an article by Michaela Dodge. Not familiar. In any case, he's a research scholar at the National Institute for Public Policy. Starts off, if the victim does not understand the game, the loss of a pawn here or a knight there does not worry him. If his thoughts are elsewhere, he does not see the traps set for him by his opponent. If his will to win is insufficient, I think it should be is insufficient, his strength is gradually eroded until, when the tide of combat goes clearly against him, he discovers too late that the price of defeat is intolerably high. There's a footnote there. And what does that refer to? Donald Armstrong, The Reluctant Warriors, New York, New York. Thomas Crowell Company. So that's who he's quoting. So he says the term hybrid warfare, defined as a set of activities below the level of armed conflict, is not useful to describe Russia's activities against the West. In fact, the term masks the severity of Moscow's actual actions and distracts the West from pursuing the kind of retaliatory measures that would lead Russia to pull back from its campaign against targets in North Atlantic Treaty Organization states, NATO states, by evoking the term hybrid warfare, or its close euphemisms like gray zone conflict, shadow war, or activities below the level of armed conflict, rather than acknowledging that Russia is, by its own account, at war with the West, gives the impression that the situation is less serious than it actually is. What he's getting at here is what we've been talking about here on the program for quite a long time, at least year and a half, saying that Russia is at war with us, even if we and our leaders choose not to acknowledge that that is the case. I'm not sure Trump really understands what is happening, not just to the United States, the West, but to him. It says here, Russia's list of aggressive actions against targets in Europe is long and its campaign is intensifying, according to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. The number of Russia's attacks quadrupled between 2022 and 2023 and tripled between 23 and 24. Excuse me. Russia has conducted over 150 operations on NATO territory since the start of its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 150. See, he's talking about, right here, Russia's activities range from assassinations and murder attempts, attacks against NATO's infrastructure, to acts of vandalism through people recruited by Russian handlers via social media. Russia is becoming bolder with its drones violating Polish airspace. As we saw this month, 2 occasions, Poland, in cooperation with NATO allies, shot several down of these drones. The more immediate goal of the campaign is to weaken Europe's support for Ukraine and to disrupt supply chains through which aid for Ukraine flows. Russia also wants to weaken NATO and undermine the political consensus within the alliance. That's right. Putin's goal is really to break up NATO. I think we should all take note of that and question the mindset that maybe even we are in, and then question why we're in that mindset based on the information we're consuming online. Why are we being fed information that's making us think this way, and where is it coming from? And are those people feeding you that information truly acting in good faith, in the public interest? It says, moreover, Russia is the prime suspect in several operations that resulted in cuts to undersea power and communication cables, which we've covered here, that run across the bottom of the Baltic Sea. The attribution is challenging because the acts of sabotage are executed by oil tankers that are part of Russia's shadow fleet or operating under flags of convenience and a difficult to trace ownership structure. A China-owned ship, allegedly with a Russian captain, cut 2 undersea cables in November. The cable's repairs will cost millions of dollars. Russia is also believed to have been behind a string of physical break-ins to water treatment plants in Finland and Sweden, potentially testing the security of the sites in the case it needed to contaminate the water supply. Russia has reportedly plotted attacks against U.S. military bases in Europe. Moscow has planned on setting parcels on fire on cargo flights bound for the United States. The parcels exploded at logistics depots in Britain, Germany, and Poland. In March of last year, Russian pilot Maxim Kuzminov, pilot Maxim Kuzminov, who defected to Ukraine after Russia's full-scale invasion, was gunned down in the garage of his apartment in Spain. NATO countries were able to foil some of those attempts. For example, Russia tried to kill the CEO of Rheinmetall arms manufacturer, Armin Paperger in 2024. 5 men were charged with arson and sabotage against Ukraine-linked businesses to benefit the Russian state and the United Kingdom. in April of last year. Willingness to cause a significant loss of life marks a departure from Russia's previous influence operations campaigns that were primarily focused on shaping the information environment, which we've talked about here. Russia's campaign is marked by increasing recklessness, according to the chief of Britain's MI5 security service, Ken McCallum. The head of Germany's Foreign Intelligence Service, Bruno Kahl, said that Russia's activities have reached a level previously unseen, and that direct military confrontation with NATO has become an option for Moscow. Russia could present even more significant military threat to U.S. allies in Europe within a few years of a ceasefire in Ukraine, because it could concentrate its forces closer to NATO's country's borders. I will just continue just briefly on this, because it says here that Russia's aggression against NATO members and individuals started prior to its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In 2014, Russia's operatives blew up an ammunition depot in the Czech Republic. In 2014, killing 2 people. In 2018, the same operatives poisoned several people on British territory, causing 1 death. The target of the operation was Sergei Skripal, reported to be a defector from Russia's intelligence service. In 2006, Russia's agents poisoned and killed Alexander Litvinenko, another Russian defector in the United Kingdom. In another case in Germany, a man later revealed as a Russian intelligence service operative shot dead a former Chechen commander at Russia's request in 2019. It's quite clear that they have been conducting aggressive actions against NATO countries for many years and escalating year after year after year. Not just information warfare at this point, but we've also seen real covert activities, and even, as we saw, attempts to even place incendiary devices on aircraft. And then these most recent drone incursions into Poland and Romania, just within days, the last few days, show that Putin is probing, testing NATO's resolve to see how far NATO countries, or NATO as an alliance, will go to defend its borders. Things are escalating, even as Trump keeps talking about peace that just never comes. Pretty clear that there is no will there right now for a peace of any kind, let alone a ceasefire to explore peace. I'll tell you, Trump also still facing a lot of trouble on the home front, mostly because of these Epstein files. Kash Patel had his feet held to the fire today. This hearing where he was grilled again for the second day in a row, it got heated. And I guess there are even some Republicans now who are even wondering if Kash Patel should maybe resign. Here's Patel at this oversight hearing in an exchange with Eric Swalwell that just blew right up. All this because of the story that just keeps haunting Trump, the Epstein files. Okay, let's pick this up. Here we go.
Epstein files, did you close the files or keep reading?
I've reviewed.
Director, the first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
I have reviewed not the entirety of the files, so
you haven't reviewed all of the Epstein files?
Personally, no.
You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been a part of. Buck stops at the top, and your testimony today is you have not reviewed all the files.
What I've been doing is been busy providing the safest country this country has seen in modern U.S. history in historic speed, because the men and women of the FBI are given the resources to reduce the homicide rate, to reduce the drug trafficking rate, to reduce the amount of children that are being trafficked and the number of pedophiles.
It sounds like those children being trafficked would appreciate
high.
the director reviewing the files. You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name that we have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at least be 1,000 times?
We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can
so
characterize the numbers however you want it.
Reclaiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times.
It's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country. My job is not to engage in political innuendo so you can go out to the sticks and get your 20-second hit in your fundraising article.
Time,
and keep going, reclaiming your time, because the people of California are being underserved by your representation.
If the president is not implicated, why not release everything that involves him?
We have released everything, the president and anyone else's side, that is credible and lawfully be able to be released. Your fixation on this matter and baseless accusations that I'm hiding child pedophiles is disgusting. Anyone that says that needs to look at the stats alone and go back to the state of California, who's receiving the biggest surge in FBI resources through my redeployment, because the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco need it.
Director, remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the Attorney's file.
It's a simple question. Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple.
Who
did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes
if you're
or no, Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No, A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F.
It sounds like you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your constituency by focusing on reducing violent crime in this country and the number of pedophiles that are legally harbored in your sanctuary cities in California? I'll work with you on that.
Regular order, Mr. Chairman.
I'm
the gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The question has been asked and answered.
You have not answered it, and we will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt. Director, did Donald Trump ever say to you, just find and release the entire truth? Don't worry if I'm in it?
The instructions from the administration were to release all credible information, and we have done that.
Did Donald Trump ever provide information about Jeffrey Epstein as an informant?
Donald Trump has not been, and I can only speak for the FBI, an informant of the FBI.
So, Director, you've played this cute shell game where you say you can't release everything because the court has said that it legally is not allowed to be released. But the court calls bullshit. Judge Richard Berman said that when you went to the court, quote, information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice. So let's move on, Director. You wrote a book called Government Gangsters. You identified 20 individuals in that book. You put me on that list at the top of the list. Thank you. My children find it flattering. 20 of those individuals have been investigated or have had adverse actions. Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done
the question
they failed to meet the muster
Director,
and their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
Reclaiming my time,
it has been a disgrace to the American people.
I'm reclaiming my time.
You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way? Mr. Chairman, would you give
recuse yourself, Director?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, just
committee will remember.
Quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete
his thoughts since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously.
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question is, will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct. Okay. The gentleman.
This one easy.
Joined the FBI. You had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, I have the clip back. Here we go. Here's the exchange. This one's gets hot.
FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information, we're gonna give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question, so let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information, and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appear to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all investigative leads.
Is the answer yes or no to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any
What
people
is
on
the
your
if?
side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the
Mr.
stats.
Patel,
And you talk
Mr.
about
Chairman,
cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you
this
talk
is
about
my time,
cover-ups.
and I will take
Why
as much time as I
Where were
want.
you during the
Instruct the
Obama and
witness,
Biden
Mr.
administrations
Chairman.
when these so-called
Instruct the
cover-ups were
witness.
going on?
Mr.
Why didn't
Chairman.
anyone in those administrations talk to any of these
Mr.
purported
Chairman.
witnesses?
Yeah,
I have
some regular order, Mr.
every
Chairman.
single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm
but
going
when
to
you-
take
when
another
you
couple
accuse
of
the
minutes.
witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works. You say
Listen,
something,
he didn't
say
even,
the-
excuse me,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman, you have
point
always
of
been
order.
fair, but
I'm-
this is
and I'm
not
being
fair.
fair, and you will get
no,
your-
this
you will
is
get your
my
time.
and he
You will give the
said
gentlelady
that the
a few
witnesses
additional
were not
seconds
credible.
of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because that's
you'll
how
get
much time
you
he
won't
took.
get a minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand
Mr.
how much time you
Patel.
get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel, are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm
Are
commenting
they
on the
credible?
evidence we have.
But
And we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and
Patel,
Obama Justice Departments
Mr.
had.
Patel,
And they
this is
determined, not
new.
me, they determined that that
Chairman,
information was not
Mr.
credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You
This is
ask the
ridiculous.
questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says,
No,
but that
I'm
doesn't mean you get to
he's
interrupt
not
him.
answering my question.
Mr. Chairman,
have
could we
an-
restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she
We
can
will give
complete
her
her question?
additional 30 seconds, which is what I said
I'm
earlier.
going to keep taking my time because
you'll take
here's
the time
thing.
that you get. You get
are
30
not
seconds.
answering the question. The question
I
is,
have. You just don't like the
these
answer.
are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well,
and I
what is
keep
the
telling
answer?
you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this
Okay.
case. This
You're not-
administration is the only one that has welcomed any new information in this
Is there
case.
a yes or no to
Present
whether the
new credible
victims are
information.
credible?
Present new
Are
information.
the victims credible
The victims-
or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump
Are they
administration.
credible or not? You can't
Victims
even say.
credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of
President
Jeffrey
Trump
Epstein,
called
not
them a
Biden,
hoax.
not Obama,
President Trump
no one
called
else.
the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask
The
you
gentlelady's
if
time has
you
expired.
will
I gave her the
meet-
additional
if
45
you-
seconds she
if you
requested.
will
The
meet-
gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from
Mr.
New
Chairman,
Jersey is
I would like
recognized
to
for his
ask if
5
you would
minutes.
meet with the women who were sexually
time does not belong-
abused and raped and groomed
time does
at
not
the
belong
ages
to the
of
gentlelady from
14
Washington.
and
The time now
16
belongs-
years old. Are
the
you
time-
going to cover up?
No, I'm
Are
not
you
gonna-
going to continue
I'm gonna
to
recognize
cover
the
up
gentleman
for
from
the
New Jersey
rich
for
and
his 5 minutes.
powerful men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell
Or
too,
are
Mr.
you
Chairman,
going
but I don't want to yell
allow
above
them
this.
to
The time belongs
testify?
to the gentleman from New Jersey. I
Are you
appreciate the
going to allow
gentlelady
them to
yielding
testify,
back.
Mr. Patel?
Go ahead.
Will
Mr.
you
Angelo.
allow them to testify to you, Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, thank you for being here. I know it's been an interesting and difficult 2 days. And I wasn't going to talk about the Epstein thing because there's a lot of other issues that affect the FBI, but I have to say a few words. I've sat here, I've listened to this, I've watched it, and you know, my Democratic colleagues are so concerned now, Mr. Patel, all of a sudden. Where were they last year? Where were they the year before? Where were they the year before that? Where was the last president in any of this? Well, all I know, the only thing I see is a single letter from the ranking member that was sent in 2019 that he didn't like the plea deal, and some people signed on to that. Most of the truth, the real truth, let's be honest, let's be intellectually honest. The real truth is we didn't hear from them at all. Anybody of them. Hardly any of them ever mentioned it. Some of them didn't mention it at all until the beginning of this year. Earlier in the year it started. Not one Democrat asked Director Wray. We all remember Director Wray was here. Not once, not twice, multiple times. Nobody asked Director Wray about Epstein before this committee. Nobody was that concerned. Where was the concern for the victims then? Where was the moral righteousness then? Where was the outrage then? Where was the sense of duty then? Where was the desire for accountability then? Where was the urgency for justice then? Most of all, where the hell was the integrity then? You know what the truth is. Let's just say it, man. Tell the truth time. The truth is, it's politically useful for them to try to do this now, even though they didn't give a damn about it in the past. And you know what? That's an insult to the victims, and that's an insult to America. Continue to do the work you're doing. Continue to uncover what needs to be uncovered. One real quick thing before I say anything to 9/11. We know that was mishandled by the past director and by the past FBIs. There are family members here. There are family members who are concerned. God Almighty, we want to get to the truth of that. I ask you, please, to meet with them, to talk to them, and to investigate this with truth. You know, in the Biden administration, we went through a very dark and difficult period of time. The FBI trust was broken with the people. Catholics were, this is the stuff we've been talking about, were labeled radical threats for praying in their churches with their rosaries. Parents at school boards were called terrorists for standing up for their children. Hindu holy men in New Jersey. We have the largest Hindu temple in the world. They were attacked. They were put up against the wall with guns to their heads. So it isn't just a Catholic or Christian thing. American Jews were targeted in colleges and universities, and a lot of folks in the FBI, in the past FBI, not this one, didn't give a damn. We can't go back to targeting religion. We can't go back to silencing free speech. The Biden administration did that. So I got questions for you. Hopefully thoughtful questions that you can answer for us in a thoughtful way. How is this FBI now, under your leadership, how are we restoring trust for Catholics, for Hindus, for Jews, for parents, for all the other, for just American people that were targeted by FISA because they had a different viewpoint? How are we restoring that trust in the FBI?
In multiple ways, sir. One, and maybe most importantly, is through transparency and providing the American public with the material so they can see, read it themselves as to what the abuses were in the past, whether it relates to the Catholic memo or the Hindu incident you talked about at the largest temple in North America. Any institution of faith and any member of faith will not be investigated by this FBI because they are men and women of faith ever, period.
And nor should they. Nor should they. I don't mean to interrupt you, but my God, of all the amendments to the freedom of speech, freedom to believe in what you want to believe in, I know you're standing up for that. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Sorry.
Okay. The Richmond memo was driven by a reliance on sources. The Southern Poverty Law Center, you know, the words sound nice, but the organization's not so nice. And we've seen the Anti-Defamation League distort data that counts as violence. Have you been able to identify and eliminate these kinds of partisan sources? We welcome all sources, but we want objectivity and neutrality and decency in the way we report all this. Have you been able to uncover any information there? How do we make sure our sources are good in the future?
We have reviewed the source processes that infiltrate any institutions of faith, and they will no longer be going into institutions of faith. They will be directed towards criminal activity and protecting the homeland, the two most important missions the FBI has, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Good. And I'll say this.
And this is now getting into the area of political divide, left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, MAGA versus liberalism, Marjorie Taylor Greene, fed up with it, over on Newsmax, saying she wants a national divorce from liberals, even as we hear some people saying this assassination of Charlie Kirk has been a wake-up call for America, time for people to start talking to each other with a degree of civility again. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, nope, it's too late for that. It's America is...
Which is something I think we've all had in our heads for a while, too. Saying there's nothing left to talk about with the left. They hate us. They assassinated our nice guy who actually talked to them peacefully, debating ideas. Then millions on the left celebrated and made clear that they want all of us dead. To be honest, she says, I want a peaceful national divorce. Our country is too far gone and too far divided, and it's no longer safe for any of us. I will pray for the left, but personally, I want nothing to do with them. And the Congresswoman joins us now to talk more about that. Yeah, I've felt this way for a while, that I don't know where you find common ground with people that have just latched on to, I think, the furthest left-wing narratives, which in this country is now millions of people. It might be somewhat of a small subsection, but it's still millions of people who are just vile. They do not want free speech. They do not want, they don't want to have a conversation. They want their way, or they want you to die. Go ahead.
That's right. I completely agree. I serve in Congress, and the Democrats I serve with believe that unborn babies are parasites. They believe in open borders. They do not believe that parents have rights over their children's education. As a matter of fact, they believe in grooming children to the point where they don't know if they're a boy or a girl anymore. And I think that we could go item by item and every single issue, but we couldn't be further apart from the left. And after Charlie Kirk was martyred, I say martyred because I believe that's what happened to him. I don't think there's anywhere to go from here. And I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know how to do it. But millions of people celebrated Charlie Kirk, and I have to tell you, too many people called for my assassination afterwards, MTG next, and many other Republicans and conservatives that speak out, they're calling for us next, and they seriously mean it. And we saw this happen after they celebrated and President Trump being shot back in July when he was a candidate for president. As a matter of fact, they were angry that the assassin's bullet did not kill him that day. And I don't know how to go forward from here.
The Marxist left, we talked about this a lot last week. This is an ideology that has been forced to kill tens of millions of people throughout history in order to mandate that everybody adhere to its ideology, and that's that is what's so terrifying is that whatever that cancerous ideology is, it's in the head of these people, and it's in the head of all the people that are screaming at you. It's in the head of all the people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. They think that if they can't get their way, then we must die. If we're standing in the way of their ideology controlling society, then we must die.
Absolutely, that's what they think. They've spent years, mainstream Democrats have spent years calling us fascist, to the point that their followers literally believe that about us, even though it's absolutely not true.
Right.
And they believe that fascism is such a threat that they want to murder it, and they celebrate murdering it. You can take it a step further. Climate alarmists, the people that believe in the climate change hoax, believe that is an existential threat to our survival and will do anything to stop it, even though it's not even true. So the left and the right is so far divided to the point where they're murdering us and celebrating it. And I look at it like this. I think the only thing that matters is our safety, people's ability to raise their children safely and protected in what we believe and what's right and wrong, and in a faith faith with God and our Savior Jesus Christ. And with Democrats, it's not possible. They fight us at every turn, and they literally want to murder us for it.
The greatest threat that this country faces is internal. It's the ideological war inside of this country. I want to play some of Charlie Kirk, though, from comments that he had made in the past, and take a listen to this. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Okay, well, we don't need to do that, but what I do want to do, I wasn't going to touch on this, but with what Marjorie Taylor Greene just said there, to illustrate thoroughly, or more thoroughly, in a more meaningful way, the divide, not just in the United States, but also here in Canada. Look at what Rachel Gilmore posts, and there's, this is happening. I'm aware of this that she speaks of here.
Canada has a growing issue with far-right extremists and white nationalists, and they are using Charlie Kirk's assassination as an opportunity to further radicalize and recruit for their efforts. I know this because I've been monitoring these groups for years, which is why they hate me so much, that they've done stuff like print a pillow of my face. So here is what these guys are saying in their own forums. There's no going back now. Do not wait to become a victim. Build, join, or support your local nationalists. No one else will help you. And on live streams, the leader of what has been identified as Canada's largest white nationalist group is telling his followers things like this.
Irredeemable monsters who have a lust for blood and have ensured that that is what we are all going to get. And both sides will lose people they love. Theirs a lot more than ours, but hey, they drew first blood.
Now, as much as I like to make fun of these guys because so much of this LARPing is pathetic, there's an element of this that we do need to take seriously. Because these guys have moved their online live streams into offline organizing. They've established what's known as an active club, which is when these guys get together and basically train to fight. And just a few weeks ago, they got together in the Niagara region of Ontario to try to do a little show of force.
Canada first!
Please fight back! We need to be honest about the tinderbox that exists here and how these guys take every chance they can to drop a lit match into that tinderbox, hoping it'll catch fire. They are using moments like the assassination of Charlie Kirk as an opportunity to drive more division. They are taking something that is horrifying and telling people who are already scared stuff like this.
And I do not believe that we can coexist. The wrong attitude is the one that conservatives and weak people are trying to direct you towards because they are consumed with fear. They're very fearful, effeminate, weak people who, in the face of murder, hide and plead, and they try to negotiate with evil. You do not negotiate with evil. You kill it.
I want to be very clear. That is what actual fear looks like. That is a man who is afraid. The actual bravest thing we can do in a moment like this is not only reject this kind of hatred and division, but take this moment to stand boldly alongside vulnerable and marginalized communities who are being targeted by everyone who is using this moment to try to put a target on the backs of their perceived enemies. We have to reject those who are using this as a moment to exacerbate hate by standing boldly alongside those groups they are trying to vilify. Have the back of the trans community. Have the back of immigrants. Don't give in to fear-fueled hatred. What do you think of all this?
I think it's just all dangerous, and it's getting worse. And Trump's still in trouble. David K. Johnson, Pulitzer Prize winning author, also law professor, saying that Trump will not survive this Epstein scandal over on Times Radio, which I've been paying a little more attention to of late.
Those would lead to an impeachment without question and a vote. It's very hard. I can't imagine Donald resigning. His ego would not allow that, but he can be the end of his presidency absolutely without question. It's the one thing I just don't believe Trump can survive politically.
You can check out his entire interview over on Times Radio, just posted within the last few hours. I was watching a longer form interview with him last night too. So he's making the rounds right now. Trump in trouble. I'll be right back. And we'll see if Trump survives.
They both look clean, but the guest list redacted, if you know what I mean. to protect the victims. And also Donald Trump. Coincidence? Just dumb luck. Right? Another sealed file. That crocodile smile. We did our best, says the DOJ, while the truth just fades away. Another new spin. No one will win except the rich guys with gold ID cards and closets full of secrets behind steel bars. Just a little glitch. A billionaire's privilege. That's the sound of the case. Closed.
And the case over the CDC still open. Former CDC Director Susan Menares testified before the Senate today and had some riveting things to say about RFK Jr., saying that essentially he asked her to rubber stamp policy directives and initiatives without thorough review. So this is making some waves over there. And yeah, she just wasn't with the program politically. So it looks like that's why RFK Jr. turfed her. I'm going to let some of this roll. This is, again, very, very heated stuff. Hang on. Oh, this computer. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, we're coming back. Here we go.
Is your microphone on?
We've got it now.
I believe it's on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Close to the mic.
Thank you.
Listen to this.
Chairman Cassidy, Ranking Member Sanders, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before you again. My name is Susan Menares, and I am a microbiologist and immunologist. Exactly 12 weeks ago, in this same room, I testified that if confirmed, I would lead the CDC to restore public trust, modernize public health infrastructure, and strengthen the agency's core mission of protecting Americans from infectious diseases and emerging threats. I was honored to be nominated by President Trump and confirmed with the Senate support. Secretary Kennedy himself swore me in on July 31st, calling me a public health expert with unimpeachable scientific credentials. My tenure as CDC director lasted 29 days. Since my removal, several explanations have been offered: that I told the secretary I would resign, that I was not aligned with the administration priorities, or that I was untrustworthy. None of those reflect what actually happened. I will share the details, but I want to be clear. Today should not be about me. Today should be about the future of trust in public health. The events leading to my dismissal began weeks before August 25th. On August 2nd, I learned from media reports that experts serving as liaison representatives to the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the ACIP, including those from major medical societies, had been removed from its working groups. The following week, I heard concerns that the ACIP might alter childhood vaccine schedule at its September meeting, potentially without credible supporting data. On August 8th, a gunman, driven by vaccine distrust, fired 180 rounds into CDC headquarters in Atlanta, killing Officer David Rose. In the days after the attack, I focused on security, staff, and ensuring the CDC could continue its mission. On August 19th, I received a directive from the Secretary's office that I now required prior approval from my political staff for CDC policy and personnel decisions. On August 21st, I was told to return to Washington from Atlanta immediately, which would have meant missing Officer Rose's memorial, something I was not willing to do. When I did return, I was concerned about my ability to continue to lead the CDC while preserving evidence-based decision-making. Commitments I had made to this committee during my confirmation hearing. On the morning of August 25th, Secretary Kennedy demanded two things of me that were inconsistent with my oath of office and the ethics required of a public official. He directed me to commit in advance to approving every ACIP recommendation, regardless of the scientific evidence. He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause. He said if I was unwilling to do both, I should resign. I responded that I could not pre-approve recommendations without reviewing the evidence, and I had no basis to fire scientific experts. He told me he had already spoken with the White House several times about having me removed. For 3 decades, I have worked at the intersection of public health, science, and technology innovation, always challenging the status quo and welcoming the changes that come from research and discovery. Even under pressure, I could not replace evidence with ideology or compromise my integrity.
Dr. Mornaz, you're almost out of time. I'll be generous, but if you could speed up just a little.
Vaccine policy must be guided by credible data, not predetermined outcomes. As I wrote in my September 4th Wall Street Journal op-ed, I agree with President Trump. We should not hesitate to ask for proof about our vaccines. And I also agree with his most recent comments that vaccines are not controversial because they work. Demanding evidence is exactly what I was doing when I insisted CDC recommendations be based on credible science. I was never misaligned with the administration priorities. The goals Secretary Kennedy recently cited publicly, protecting the public from threats, building infrastructure, modernizing systems, investing in the workforce, and enhancing scientific rigor were the same priorities I articulated at my confirmation hearing and began advancing during my short tenure. I remain supportive of those priorities. The question is whether they can be achieved without the expertise required at CDC. Regarding trustworthiness, I cannot define that word for Secretary Kennedy. I made commitments to this committee that I would lead with integrity, transparency, purpose, and work with Congress to maximize health outcomes and protect the American people. Secretary Kennedy told me he could not trust me. I had refused to commit to approving vaccine recommendations without evidence, fire career officials without cause, or resign, and I had shared my concerns with this committee. I told the Secretary that if he believed he could not trust me, he could fire me. The next day, I was told I still had my job, but the Secretary's expectations remained: approval of ACIP recommendations and dismissal of career scientists. I would not commit to that, and I believe it is the true reason I was fired. Tomorrow, the reconstituted ACIP will meet. Its composition has already raised concerns from the medical community. Based on what I observed during my tenure, there is a real risk that recommendations could be made restricting access to vaccines for children and others in need without rigorous scientific review. With no permanent CDC director in place, those recommendations could be adopted. The stakes are not theoretical. We already have seen the largest measles outbreak in more than 30 years, which claimed the lives of 2 children. If vaccine protections are weakened, preventable diseases will return. I was fired for holding the line on scientific integrity, but that line does not disappear with me. It now runs through every parent deciding whether to vaccinate a child, every physician counseling a patient, and every American who demands accountability. I want to end where I began with my confirmation hearing. I spoke then about the value of hard work, paying my own way through college, and my lifelong dedication to science and public health. On August 25th, I could have stayed silent, agreed to the demands, and no one would have known. What the public would have seen were scientists dismissed without cause and vaccine protections quietly eroded, all under the authority of a Senate-confirmed director with unimpeachable credentials. I could have kept the office, the title, but I would have lost the one thing that cannot be replaced, my integrity. Some may question my motives or mischaracterize my words. That is part of public life, but I am not here as a politician. I'm here as a scientist, a public servant, and a parent committed to protecting the health of future generations.
And this is at the very heart of much of what is dividing the country right now. And this all really amplified because of the pandemic and the mandates and, the mRNA vaccines, if you want to call them vaccines or whatever you choose to call them. But truth is truth. Opinions are opinions. What the truth is these days, though, is very hard to determine. And I believe that she has integrity. I believe that she's trying to do her best. She was picked by RFK Jr. and Donald Trump for that position to then only weeks later be removed from it, because I do believe that, and it's not even just what I believe, there is evidence to show that the politics runs thick right now through the CDC. Probably did before too, during the period in which everybody was locked down, masked up, and mandated. So we are facing a crisis in healthcare because public trust has been undermined. And this, really what you're seeing here, is fallout from that. It's not going to end anytime soon. Over here, more politics. She's talking about the marginalized, Rachel Gilmore, just a short time ago. And you can make your own assessments on that stuff too. I just think all that's very dangerous on both sides. But that really illustrates that both sides on the extremes are so divided that they hate each other. And there isn't much room for conversation. This is a story that you may be aware of. I wanted to talk about it the other night, but we didn't get to it, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons. But Minneapolis police were dealing with a mass shooting where a dozen people were hurt at a homeless encampment. The reason I bring it up is because of some very controversial things that a Fox News host made regarding this. Minneapolis police said over a dozen people have been hurt in two separate shootings at homeless encampments across the city on the same day. First shooting at a transit station wounded 5 people. It happened in an area that had seen 2 prior shootings in the past month. Second shooting, which wounded 8, happened just 2 miles away in a site that had been a topic of controversy in the Minneapolis area. Private landlord Hamoudi Sabri, who had been involved in homeless activism since 2021, has allowed the encampment on his property because he does not believe the city is addressing the root causes of homelessness. You scroll down here and they talk about also a Trump executive order a month earlier directed governments to begin shifting people without stable housing into long-term institutional settings, something many critics feared could lead to a direct criminalization of homelessness. Then, as a result of all of this, Brian Kilmeade over on Fox News targeted for what he said recently regarding homelessness. This computer will not get rid of this. Hang on. There we go. This is what Brian Kilmeade said. He suggested that the way to handle homelessness is through involuntary lethal injection or something Just kill them. Oh, yeah. I've got the clip. Let's bring it up here. Here it is. Here's what he said.
We feel so compassionate because you see the mental health crisis happening.
Exactly.
But it's not our job. We shouldn't have to live in fear while they figure out what's going on right there.
Right.
Put them in a mental institution, put them in a jail, and you guys figure it out. But people having to duck and dive on the trains and the buses, walking through the street, this is one case, but this is happening all across the country, and it's not a money issue. They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up. You can't keep putting these people in power. They woke up in Los Angeles. They got a stronger DA. They woke up they got rid of Chancellor Bodine in San Francisco. Hopefully they'll get rid of this terrible guy, Alvin Bragg in New York. And now it's up to the people, the election, which is who's ever up in November, and that Senate seat that belongs to Tom Tillis, who, by the way, yesterday said, I don't want any.
So if someone if you're poor and you're living on the street because you can't get a job and you don't have a home and you've fallen through the cracks, or there just isn't enough. They want to throw you in jail. Or he wants to kill you. A capital offense. Capital punishment. Death penalty. If you're poor and living on the street. That's from this is a conservative show. And everybody's worried about MAID in Canada. He apologized. Here's his apology after the shootings in Minneapolis. I'll show you what he said. There, for the grace of God, go I.
Wow. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion. In the morning, we were discussing of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, drugs, cocaine on the Kanakistanian side. Let's take a look at this breaking story today. A big seizure. $475.95 kilograms of cocaine, nearly 500 kilos of cocaine stopped at the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor. Windsor-Detroit border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection stopped a total of 475.95 kilograms of cocaine from coming into Canada at the Ambassador Bridge last Thursday. Canadian Border Patrol Protection flagged the trailer for inspection September 11th, which revealed several bricks of a white powdery substance concealed within multiple boxes and 2 duffel bags. It was tested, confirmed to be cocaine. Quote, preventing the scourge of dangerous narcotics from harming our communities is an essential part of our border security mission and will continue to hold the line against this illicit drug trade, said Mark Calixte, port director for the Port of Detroit. The cocaine truck and trailer were seized. A citizen of India is facing federal prosecution. So far this fiscal year, the Detroit field office has seized more than 4,300 pounds of cocaine and almost 1,000 pounds of meth. So that was coming from the U.S. into Canada, intercepted on the Canadian side of the border. Not Canada to the U.S. It was from the U.S. coming into Canada. Just so we're very clear on that, okay? For all those of you who are believing that Canada is the big drug source, one of the big drug sources, as Donald Trump has asserted, for fentanyl going into the U.S. No, it's the Mexican border and Central America. And yeah, there's some that I'm sure crosses from Canada into the U.S., but it is not the major border problem that some propagandists have been leading some people to believe. And there are political reasons, I think, for all of that. But that being said, this makes me circle back to the whole Venezuela thing, because we're seeing the military buildup down there continue. Here, we'll just, if this computer would cooperate tonight, and it's not. Here we go. So this was a couple of days ago, of course. 3 killed in U.S. strike on second alleged Venezuelan drug boat. And there's been a third one since this. This was on the 15th. Let's just do a little scroll here and see where we're at tonight with the military buildup. Venezuela starts days of military and electronic warfare drills. Yeah, they're holding military exercises in Venezuela tonight. Here, I'll bring up this article. There are a bunch of them. If you go searching for them, you'll find them. And here's one of them, The Guardian, among many others. Here we go. Venezuela starts days of military and electronic warfare drills after U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats. Venezuela says it's begun 3 days of military exercises on its Caribbean island of La Orchila as tensions soar amid U.S. military activity in the region. Forces deployed for what Washington called an anti-drug operation have blown up at least 2 Venezuelan boats. There was also that third vessel, the tuna boat, which was boarded and then released later, I believe, and the people aboard also released. That was that one in international waters, or was it in Venezuelan economic waters? One of the boats was inside Venezuelan economic space, and the others in international waters. The international law on this, I think, is fairly clear. You can make your own, draw your own conclusions, or make your own, assess on your own. Forces deployed for what Washington called an anti-drug operation, and a combined 14 people allegedly transporting drugs across the Caribbean this month. A move slammed by UN experts as extrajudicial execution. So 14 people have been killed now in these strikes because the U.S. military, at the direction of Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, have blown up these boats. Now, what were they transporting? We're told it's drugs. Is that true? Well, if it is, there's no evidence to support it because whatever might have been on those boats is now at the bottom of the ocean, which makes it a little difficult to prove your point, although they say they have recordings, which I don't think have actually been released, of what, surveilled conversations. The strikes and deployment of U.S. warships in the region have raised fears of an invasion of Venezuela, and we've seen credible sources saying that an invasion of Venezuela is imminent, and we've even seen some pro-American influencers, live streamers, podcasters, analysts, and political pundits say that the true reason for this is that Trump wants regime change in Venezuela. He doesn't like Maduro, doesn't like the communist government down there, and there have been many, many accusations saying that the whole drug war is a pretext for the military action that is being waged for political purposes. Forces deployed for what Washington is calling an anti-drug operation. The strikes and deployment of U.S. warships in the region have raised fears. The exercise ordered by Maduro as commander-in-chief was baptized Sovereign Caribbean, said the defense minister, and other nation states in the region are concerned as well and have expressed concerns. Says here there will be air defense deployments with armed drones, surveillance drones, submarine drones. We are going to implement electronic warfare actions, he said Wednesday, citing the threatening vulgar voice of the U.S. So this is going to involve 12 ships, 22 aircraft, and 20 small boats from the Special Naval Militia. It's just such a mismatch. because the United States has moved so much hardware, so much firepower into the region, staging everything over in Puerto Rico. And I'm just going to take a look here. When this all really started to kick off, we saw all these videos coming out of that area saying that well, it was all these videos of fishing boats, right? It was like they were sending these boats out. And I think some of it was sort of satirical. But let me see if I've got the videos of those I can show you. To show how out of whack. Well, here's the boat on the 15th that was blown up, I guess. This would be the second one. I'll run this video again. So just keep in mind that 14 people just killed. Not boarded, not arrested. Killed. No trial, no due process. And a lot of people, even in the U.S. politicians, prominent politicians, like Rand Paul, concerned about this. We should all be concerned about it, I think. Yeah, and then we're seeing also some reports suggesting that one of the boats was that was destroyed. It actually turned back. Now, again, what's the truth? Who knows? I'm not trying to defend drug dealers. Don't get me wrong. But again, it's how you do it. It's what you do and how you do it. Here's some video. I think this is the tuna boat that was boarded. Bring this up for you if I can. Yeah, this was the only video that I remember coming out. We showed you this the other night too. It's just very clear that Venezuela doesn't stand a chance if it comes down to like actual firepower. Now, if they want to put boots on the ground into Venezuela, they may have a more serious task on their hands, because you may find that the people there will resist. It might not be so simple when you're dealing with just people with guns and guerrilla warfare at that point, right? And here's the first video that was released, the first vessel that was destroyed. And this was also a fishing boat. This one, I asked the question too, can a boat like this actually make it to the United States? With what, 4 outboard motors on the back? It's a long way from Venezuela to the U.S. I think it's about a 2-day trip. So there's something a little weird about this. But as I dug into it further, well, there were claims that this was AI. No, this is real. And these human beings aboard were killed. So still watching very closely what's going on down there, because we are told an invasion of Venezuela remains imminent. That being said, folks, I think it's about time we wrap up for tonight. We'll probably have more to say tomorrow, or we'll probably learn more about the cancellation of the Jimmy Kimmel show. as this wave of cancel culture from the conservative side directed at the other side continues. As I say, my, how the pendulum has swung the other way. So, that being said, I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to leave you with our latest creation and performance by Maverick and the News Brothers. This is Black Donnie, the Pirate President. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
On a single fish guy, Naco tuna, terror tugs, no chance to run. Donnie laughs as the Navy has fun. Blow 'em up, blow me down. Black Donnie's got the Navy in town. Kerplunk, they're sunk. Tiny fishing boats, he's going full on funk.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.